The other day in class, I had two people sort of standing beside each other, and there was quite a marked height difference. One person was probably about 6 or 7 inches taller than the other. And then I was looking at the way they were setting up some of their squats, and I realized that maybe the height of the squats depth that they were trying to get to should have been the same. And they looked at me and they're like, why would that be the case? Like, I'm taller than she is, etc. And then I said, okay, look, stand beside each other. And then we looked at the heights of their knees, so how long their tibia is, and then how high their height of their hips were, and that's the height of your femur. For the most part, from their kneecap down, they were the same height. Well, what the person that was taller had about 4 or 5 inches more length in their femur, their hips a little bit higher. So the difference in height was really just her femur. So her arms and her torso was about the same size as the other one, and the lower body, the lower tibia, the lower leg was the same. And so in some cases their exercises would be the same, and in other cases they had to be a little bit different. And this is where the sort of the individual variances come in. But it reminded me of when I listen to people compare themselves to somebody else's body and body types. I think it's important that if you are making a comparison, you have to compare yourself to somebody who has the same proportions as you. And that doesn't mean the same height, because you can look at two people at the same height and they have different weights, and there's a lot of comparisons you can make there. Two different weights and they might be two different heights, two different heights and they might look different in terms of proportions. You might have a 6-foot basketball player and a 6-foot a hockey player, and those sports select for different characteristics, and they would look slightly different, and they're both 6 feet, right? So it's all about proportions. When you have to look at, when you're comparing someone to yourself, first of all, I say you shouldn't do it in the first place. But if you are going to do it, compare yourself to somebody who has the same proportions as you. And then you can start looking at body weight and body fat comparisons between those two people, because then it's a little bit more apples to apples, so to speak. Now, that being said, don't look to see what someone else is capable of doing, what they're changing in their body. Just focus on you and being the best version of yourself. You can possibly look like someone who has the same proportions as you. You can possibly do some of the same exercises. You maybe even be as strong as each other because of the proportions, but it's important to look at you and only you. This is you versus you. This is not you and anybody else. So stop comparing yourself to the progress that somebody else is making, the strength that somebody else has, the way that their body looks, etc., etc. Your best version is different than the next person's best version. I've listened to two people who had body fat percentage like maybe 15-20% apart, and they both felt like they needed to lose more body fat. And it was interesting because one person, you could tell that they were so low body fat. The other one, you couldn't tell they were so low, but because of their body proportions, it looked a little bit different. The whole point is just be the best version of yourself. Let's not look for a specific number, because for most cases, it's hard to find a specific number for you, specific weight, etc. Just work towards progress. Look at the trend in the right direction. But most importantly, stop comparing yourself to other people, especially if your body is not the same as their body. Body type, body proportions, body height, whatever you want to look at. You need to be as much similar to that person to compare yourself. And for the most part, it's hard to find. So I'd say, first and foremost, don't compare yourself and compare your body to somebody else's body. But if ever you have to, look at somebody who has almost the exact same characteristics as you, and then you can gauge where you could possibly be. But in the end, I'm always going to argue, just be the best version of yourself and forget about everyone else, because it's you versus you. It's your body, it's your decision, it's your goal.